probably already from the age of 18 or 19. And, you know, I'm obviously in music, so how the hell do you get into comics? It's been brewing in my head for so long. Then I meet this gentleman, and he was the missing link. And we had a chat, literally hit it off straight away. We connected, and we made it all work. So that's the short version.
Cool.
I have a question then. You know, with the neon futuristic, digital, I mean, you know, very mature content, Hexagon, you're hitting a YA market. Any reason particular why you wanted to go in that direction?
Actually, you know, when I do my biggest concerts, they're all ages as well. So I have like the young demographic. But I think it's actually not just for young people, it's for...
No, it's not, but it's labeled as a YA.
But I didn't want to exclude them, you know, because I think it's a big target group. Plus, one day I want my future kids to be able to read it. And yeah, it just really worked out that way.
I look at it from a slightly different perspective. So for me, as somebody in the industry, I'm looking at, okay, how do we really help the industry thrive? And if you look, there's just what's called an age of imprinting. And so while even adults can change their mindset at any time, there's no question that when you're younger, you are more likely to change and more likely to change rapidly and in dramatic ways. So as a company, the only reason we exist is to impact people's mindsets. So our company is now basically changing our focus and going much younger. We want to do it though in a way, like if you read manga, they're very good at never talking down to a kid. So they don't tell a childish story. They tell a story that's accessible to kids, which is what was really important to Don, and so that made a lot of sense to me. Let's make a story that's accessible to kids, doesn't talk down to kids, but will hopefully have a tremendous impact. You know, we'll consider this a win if 10 years from now, people are coming up and say, yo, that book put me on a path, right? And so that's how we think of it.
And that was your, like, when we met first, that was like your first demand almost. He only gets, you know, he only works on things that actually have positive impact on people's lives. And that was the same for me. Anything I do with my music or music videos or the art, everything around it, even the clothing line, it's all focused towards making a better world and influencing people in a way that they're motivated, they love themselves, and it's all very, very positive. And you know, that's exactly where our Crossway came together.
Tom, I have a question for you. What made you decide specifically to work with Don Diablo? And because Don, you kind of touched on that as to why you wanted to work with Tom. So maybe Tom, if you want to take it over.
Yeah, so thankfully we got put together by Andrew, who's hiding in the back there as part of Don's team. And I said, look, I only like to work with people that really get what I'm trying to do. So the positivity, that we have a fiendish bent towards sci-fi. And he was like, Tom, if you're into positivity and sci-fi, Don Diablo literally is the perfect human. I said, all right, put me on a call with him. So we got on a call and we started talking about things that we like and the areas of sci-fi that we're both into. And there was so much overlap, starting with Star Wars. And he's actually done a collaboration with Star Wars, a fashion collaboration. Wow. So I was like, all right, hold on. If this guy was able to get them to let him do an actual collaboration, already that says something about his hustle, but it also says something about his true love for sci-fi. And then when we were talking about positivity and impact, and it was just, we were so clearly on the same page. So, you know, we now get approached a lot to do projects, and the one thing, I only work with people who have zero interest in a vanity project. They want to tell a real story that has real impact, and that is Don literally from top to bottom. And it's fun watching the world discover more and more what he's about outside of the DJ booth and realize that he truly is a different animal. So I got a chance to see that on that call. We talked for a very long time, and it was just clear that it would be an amazing creative collaboration, and it has been extraordinary.
Awesome. The amazing thing is it came together on that day, basically. Like, Tom doesn't mess about, and that's amazing because a lot of these people in the world actually they talk a lot, but Tom doesn't talk a lot, he just does. Yes. Which is very inspiring. It's just like, you have the chat, you connect, he thinks it's a great idea, boom, he makes it happen. And then literally within days, we were like working, which is crazy if you think about it. Never really ever happens in real life. So it's like a real life comic book hero.
And how do you tackle the creative process? Coming from music and into comics, is the transition simple? Is there a transition? Do you tackle it the same? The music and comics.
I think like what I do with my music, I tell stories. Tom was already saying that. Like I'm not in the music to make a lot of money or to party every day. I'm a pretty serious guy. I actually never drank, I never did alcohol, I never did drugs, I never smoked in my life. So I'm very focused on my craft. And if you listen to my lyrics, they're very, they have their stories in it. And if you look at my aesthetics, everything's already very futuristic. My last album was called Future, and everything revolves around the idea of time. So there was the basic concept of the story, and we spoke about this. Then obviously it needs to be elaborated on, and then the three of us, together with Michael, we started to kind of just dissecting what's cool, what's not cool, how can we make this better, how can we make this work within the comic world, within the sci-fi world, and that's how we came together to make the story that we have right now. But it was sort of a three-way where I guess everything worked. Everybody had its own separate role, but it was really strict on the deadlines. Like literally, you got like 5 minutes to decide on this, and like I'm literally like holding one thing in my hand, and then I'm literally at a show somewhere in the middle of my show, I'm just texting it. Like what's going on here? It's like need approval on this. Like yes. So yeah, that was pretty crazy, but I like that. I like adrenaline. I like to get things done, and you just really push things forward. It was like a moving. I just jumped in a moving train, and that's that just kept going.
To expand on that, you tend to be a very visual person. You're someone who likes to integrate music, film, now graphics. Is there any possibility of bringing something like this to either a series or the big screen or anything like that, just for a more visual impact?
Yeah, I mean we spoke about that from the beginning. That's our goal, right? To take it to that next level. Like my background is actually I'm officially a documentary maker. I studied journalism, direction, documentary making. So film and video, like I do all my own music videos. That's kind of my little thing. Actually, that's what I wanted to do when I grew up, but I ended up going into music. Similar, Tom has a similar life story where we did things and people perceive us to be a certain person. But now we have opportunities to create a new self and show everything else we can do thanks to the success we've had in another business. But for me, making it a film, making it a cartoon, that's the end goal. And I think Tom can agree with that. That's what he said from the beginning. It's nice that you want to make a comic book, but fill in.
Yeah, so as you guys well know, it's the comic industry is challenged financially, but it is the single most extraordinary way to create intellectual property ever because it's so community oriented. So you create this work and people read it and they engage with it. You get to meet them and you travel around the country and sometimes around the world. You get to meet the fans face to face, see what's resonating. And because it's done in steps, it's like you get that feedback, you integrate it into the story. So it is truly this unparalleled form of creating IP, but to hit the mass audience, then you have to move up into the film and television. So when I look at where it works best is the manga market to anime and then going around the world, right? It's just a nice proven formula. Now, it doesn't have to be animated, but that same thing where you build your readership, you prove out the story, you connect with an audience, and then from there there's appetite because the budgets are so big that they need to know that something is working. So when Impact Theory launched, we said, look, we have to face the reality of a 1 in 20 hit ratio. So my wife and I had a lot of success in our past business. We could have bought an island and retired. We could co-finance a $100 million film. But if that film fails, then we're out of business. And so we never, like as a business person, number one thing is avoid a mortality event. That's it. So everything that we do to make sure we protect our downside so that we can fail over and over and over and really learn something. So you come with that attitude and we're able to work together over years. You create something that's amazing. So it's all about community. It's about partnerships where you care about the other person. You share a work ethic. You share a vision. You share values. Now you've got the time to explore and make something great.
I also think, elaborating on that, on your question actually, I think that's where it gets extra special, because obviously when things start moving, you can add music to it, then you can imagine they'll go to the next level. So that's definitely my goal as well, because that's where it gets elevated, and just the idea of working on the soundtrack and just bringing it to life. I think that's when you really understand what it's supposed to be. And we already talked about like soundtracking it even in further editions down the road. Like I want to make a playlist where you just listen to when you're reading the comic book, like you're listening to these songs, and then it's like music really stimulates the mind to a point where you create all these fantasies. Like I mean, even nowadays, a lot of kids who grow up, they get everything thrown into their face. Like I remember when I needed to cycle, like 30 minutes to actually buy a comic book or to buy a CD, and I would that would be my thing for months. And I think the age of something physical having worth is slowly going down. So you definitely want to take it to a point where it becomes more and more valuable. But I think the idea of actually creating a physical comic book was actually as non-futuristic as it gets, Yes. If you think about it, but at the same time, it's very romantic,
It is.
I'm interested in the formation of the team here now with Morrissey, unfortunately not here, Rat Pack Lee. How did you guys form together? I mean, who came, how did y'all pitch Morrissey on this? So he's an amazing writer.
So thankfully, the guys at Vault, he was working there. I reached out to them before our first book came out and said, hey, I think what you're doing in a distribution model is actually really interesting. I'd love to talk to you and get to know you. I consider myself a disruptor. They've always been incredibly kind to me. They said, hey, if there's ever anybody you ever want to meet, let me know. And I was like, the guy that writes Wasted Space, like that book is so good. I got to meet that guy. And they're like, he's actually here right now. So this was at Emerald City. And popped up to Artist Alley. They introduced me to him, and I said, dude, I think you are amazing. I would love to work with you on something. I don't know what, let me know. And he was like, yeah, I'd be super interested. When I first talked to Don, I realized we vibe on Star Wars. I was like, holy shit, this guy Morrissey actually writes fucking Star Wars. I was like, this is too perfect. So I said, take a look at this guy, let me know what you think. He loved him, got Morrissey on the phone with us, we jammed creatively. It was just an instant click. Like you could hear it click into place. And so we're like, all right, this is a team. And then Jeremy Rapak draws one of our other books, and a part of it, because our other book is broken into two pieces. You've got the real world and the digital world. Jeremy draws the digital world. So working with him has been extraordinary, and I knew he had spare cycles because he draws such a small part of that book. So I said, hey, I'd love to get all of your time, but I need a more anime style. Like, can you do that? And he was like, actually, that's my preferred style. So he banged out a new look for us for this and just crushed it.
Awesome. And the likeness is amazing on you. Love it, bro.
This question is
Well, at first I looked like an Italian fashion designer. I was like, had like the eyebrows were like, what do you call it? What's the English word for it?
Like unibrow?
Yeah, no, like it's like when they're like really thin.
Oh,
like,
too sculpted?
Yeah,
I don't
and
know
the
if
beard
that's
was like
the word.
super sculpted. I'm like, thank you, but yeah, I like it a bit more rough. And then after a few more sketches.
Actually, with the eyebrows, let's go Impractical Jokers and Murr. You had them on fleek.
I was like, I look good, but it doesn't look like me necessarily. I don't need to be perfect. So,
Yeah, it's funny. It's actually hard to translate somebody when you're not trying to be realistic. You're trying to have a cartoon look, but to make it also look like them is a really tough balance.
Tom, a question for you. For Impact Theory now, you have this, last year it was Steve Aoki. What's next for you in Impact Theory?
So we have 3 more books that'll be coming out in 2020, in addition to Volume 2 of Neon Future, Volume 1 of Hexagon. We're going to be going hard into manga. So I actually have a trip to Japan in a couple weeks, going to be going there, scouting artists. I think manga has already proven that it's the future, and I think the reason it's the future is it tells a succinct story in a single volume so that you don't have to go monthly. I think that should be dead as disco. It's like, to me, fighting over that just doesn't make sense. And the only way to get kids into it, it's got to be cheap, it's got to be a single story. You can't ask them to go to the store, to have their parents drag them to the store. That worked when it was the only way, but once there's a better way, it's illogical. So you've got Raina Telgemeier killing the game, you've got Dogman killing the game, and people just aren't being real about where the industries could head, I should say. One trip to Tokyo will make you go, oh, shit is broken in America. Like, all of the arguments just stop. Like, the arguments that people are having in the US about the comic market, literally, let me take someone to Japan for 45 minutes. I'll walk them to a random neighborhood and they'll see a manga shop on a random corner. They will walk in, it will be clean and beautiful, it will feel like a corporate store, they will be selling books by the pallet. It's fucking crazy. It is just, it's so different. They're not squabbling over it. They go, oh, girls like comics? Let's make a girl that speaks to, or a comic that speaks archetypally to a girl. Boys like comics? Let's make a comic that speaks archetypally to a boy. They're not trying to tell one story for fucking everybody. They've got 1,000 different like genres. They go deep into it. If you like, I mean, look, everybody knows the Japanese go deep on some weird shit.
Oh, yeah.
But like, to me, that's how you do it. That's how you tell a fucking rad story. You say, who am I talking to? And now I'm gonna talk really well to that person. And because of that, they're the only ones exporting culture anymore through like drawings. It's crazy. And might I suggest a book called A Billion Wicked Thoughts? That shit will change your mind about how you tell stories, my friends, because it makes it very clear boys and girls are different, it just is what it is. And so as a company, we're going to be speaking really hardcore to demographics. So Lisa runs a division called Women of Impact. So it's not like we're going to ignore that, it's a huge demo, but we're going to talk to them. So it's going to be for women by women. And then we're going to get some for boys by boys and like really tell fucking hardcore stories that are in a lane.
Tom, I have a question. You mentioned before that your intention is to be disruptive, and you kind of have that, simultaneously very kinetic, but also very clinical perspective on what needs to be done. Has the fan response, has the audience response been what you anticipated, or have you had to kind of shift?
No, we've sold about twice what anybody said we would have the right to sell, so that's been really exciting. And I think that was me still not fully understanding the game. So now that we're getting more clinical and more precise in what we're doing and have a very clear thesis on the psychology of where everything is at, I think that over the next 5 years, you're going to see like what disruption really looks like. And the funny thing is, I'll tell anybody. I will tell you exactly what I'm doing. Come with me. Book a flight on the same fucking trip to Japan. I will give every secret I can, because all I'm trying to do is get new people into this that are young, that are going to be positively impacted, and then as they grow up, because we hit them at the age of imprinting, it becomes a thing for life. Like what you're going to see in the book, literally, this story is this man's age of imprinting. It is what he went through. It's his relationship with his dad. It's his relationship to music. It's like the relationship to sci-fi and all of that stuff. It's why we said it in the 80s. It's like all an echo of what he really went through. And then when we all think about what did we go through at that age, we may not want to admit it, but that's the most important part of our lives. I hate that that's true. Nobody wants that to be less true than me, but it is true. And so, man, I will tell anybody, here's the ironic thing about giving away secrets, people never use them. Because they can't be unemotional about it. They can't just go, oh, it's not working, let's do something else. They've got too much momentum, too much stuff tied up into it. So, but we literally, Lisa and I are professional secret givers. We just tell people. We literally, like Babe Ruth fucking called our shot 3 years ago, put it up on the website, moment by moment, said this is how we're going to build the next Disney. You can try and outperform me, but you're never going to be able to keep up. And that's just real.
That's growth, man. Love that.
And I have a final question for you, Don. So now that you've done this Hexagon, and you're working with this amazing direction, do you project that you'll be working together in other areas as well outside of the comics industry since you are making such a big impact?
You mean in general or together with Tom?
Both, in general and together with Tom.
Well, first of all, obviously, I'd love to do anything with Tom. That's a given because he's a breath of fresh air. Like I'm like I guess we're both like beasts in the sense that I usually sleep 3-4 hours a night. I work until late at night, like to 6-7 in the morning every single day, 7 days a week. But you only have one life. I really want to kill this. And I have a story to tell through comic books, music, art, music videos, film, documentary. That's like a mission. So it's hard to sleep. I lay awake at night. I don't go on holidays because it's like, what do? You lay on the beach, just like stressed out from not stressing out. Like literally want to do so many things still. So I'm working on a new collection for the Star Wars clothing collection. It's coming out next year. And for me, there are like so many projects that I'm working on, but I never mention because then you're the guy who has all the ideas and he doesn't deliver. So again, like you could go in like I have a great idea for a comic book and then you walk around with it for years, but then you're that guy, I just want to do it and then show it. That's basically what it is. And sometimes I take people along for the process. Like making an album, you follow me on my socials, you can literally see me every single night to 5-6 in the morning, kind of putting it together. But it's my goal to just keep collaborating in the fashion industry and comic books, obviously, and bring it all together. Because for me, that's where it all comes together in a sense. When, let's say you have the cartoon, that's where fashion, music, and comic comes together. And that's where it becomes super unique. And you can really make a difference. But if you look like, that's literally, the jacket I'm wearing is literally a jacket I designed, so it's like, that's an actual jacket that the drawing is based on, so it's literally what I look like when I go to my mom. So, it's, for me it's not creating something, it's just being who I am, and I think usually from now on, like, even if you look at the tour, right now it's been the most personal thing I've ever done. I'm not doing like epic intros, I'm like doing documentary style intros, almost inspired by Tom, like telling my story, and just being really honest. Because at the end of the day, like we're all just fumbling around on this earth trying to make things happen, and you're just as good as your last success. So that's the way I look at it. I look at every single day like it's going to be over tomorrow. So you might as well make your dreams happen right now. And this is has been a huge part of it. And then you come across someone like Tom, and you have a mutual. We're basically just two kids, just playing around and wanting to show whatever it is that we made to the world, right? And it comes from a place of passion, and there's no aggressiveness in it. There's not a direct, It's firstly about the art and about the pleasure of creating something together. Like two kids in a playground, like Steve Jobs and Wozniak, just kind of just wanting to do something, and I think that's why we're here at this crossroad. But obviously, what else can we do? I mean, let's do shit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let me tell you, I'm open. When you find somebody that you like to collaborate, you drag it out, you bring every ounce of joy and creation out of it possible. So there are far too few people in life that you love being around and that you can work, because it gets hard, right? And so in those moments where it's hard and you have to grind it out, you want to know the other person's going to show up for you, and there just are not many people on this planet like Don. So
I also think like people like see you as it's like the cliche of like Don makes music, so that's what he does, or Don is an amazing businessman, so that's what he does. Ooh, he's getting into doing this now. But that's not really. We were talking about it when we first met, like we just did things before we're doing what we're doing right now because we didn't want to be those guys not making it happen. So we had to have a different path. So my path was music. I never wanted to be a musician or a DJ, or I still don't know what I want to be. I just do shit, and I try to do it as epic as I can. But it's not my dream to do this. Like every time people are like, it's so great to meet you, and you still stayed so normal. Like, I'm literally just getting by every day. I'm like literally trying to do this shit. But like, my idea was to, when I grew up, to make films. And then we were like, it's so fucking complicated because you depend on other people.
Yes.
It's like making a comic book. You can have the greatest idea, but you need an amazing team. You need a visionary, and you can't do it by yourself. And you need to grow towards that process. So I think, even in my country, like I remember I did this last year. I did the Star Wars collaboration. And people came to me like, we launched it in this giant warehouse. They were like, you just broke a record of the biggest sales. You just broke the Louis Vuitton record. Biggest sales on the first day.
Wow.
And I was doing an interview with all like fashion press. They were all like skeptical. Oh, Don is a musician. He comes from music. What is he doing in fashion now? And then we showed them the numbers, and they were like, oh shit, this is real. And then someone said like, so maybe are you like a fashion designer? I'm like, well, I design fashion, so why is it between brackets? You know, we made a comic book, so why is it between brackets? It's never between brackets. It just comes from different angles, different influences. And I think that's what we did here. We created something from our completely different backgrounds. And yeah, it's something really honest, I think, because we don't need to do it. We do it from the heart because we can.
Well, I think that's why you and Tom work so well together, because Tom's got that reputation of just, thugging it out and being like, this is what it is. So.
And I think I think a lot of people do stuff sometimes out of desperation. They're like, I need to do this, like, duh. But here it's like, you just literally you do it because we're both super busy. This is our passion project.
Yes.
We wanted to do this.
Guys, I'm sorry, we need to wrap because we've got to get Don and Tom to the sci-fi stage, so I need to be that guy.
Bust around.
Not that guy.
Thank you guys so much for the
Thank
interest.
you.
We cannot thank you enough.
Oh man, we're down with impact always.
Thank you.
Yeah, we rock
Always
out
good to
with
see
you,
you.
Tom.
Thank you. We hope you've enjoyed this Comic Crusaders production. For real-time news on all things pop culture, please feel free to follow us on social media. For articles, original content, merchandise, and more, please go to www.comiccrusaders.com. Also follow along with all of the websites in the Comic Crusaders family. As always, if you like this content, please click like and subscribe to the Comic Crusaders YouTube channel.